Imagine a hero shooter where the hero never showed. Imagine a game with a player base that just refused to grow. A 5v5 hero shooter with gameplay that's just okay, and characters that remind me of Tupperware and white bread. No, I'm not talking about Overwatch. Please stop bringing up Overwatch. This game is not Overwatch. It's actually something else. Imagine a game with a story that no one watches. A game that costs $40 that Sony totally botches. It has all my favorite characters, like Lemmy, Dawn, and Craig. At least, I think that's what their names are. I never bothered to check. Concord like the grave, your legacy is safe as a game that no one played, and a price that no one paid. Boop-a-doop-ba, keep-a-boop-da, scoop-a-boop-ba, beep-beep-beep-beep-beep, phlegm. Concord was about as good as accidentally peeing on your own leg. Concord, we're here to lay you to rest. We know you tried your best. You copied so much cool stuff just to turn out lame in the end. I'll never forget my favorite moments, like when Hot Sauce Guy jumped. Remember when he jumped? That was really cool. A rat just ran by on my desk, and even the rat didn't want to play Concord, even though I blessed him with the chance. The $40 he could afford, but the rat just stared on in a trance. Rat, 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 rat. Concord's dead. Rat, 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 rat. Concord's dead. The Costco guys made more money than you. They were just on Jimmy Fallon too. Imagine Lennox being on Jimmy Fallon, because I literally can't. The rat on my desk is eating all my Cheerios and grapes, and also Concord is dead. Concord like the grave, your legacy is safe as a game that no one played, and a price that no one paid. Rat-a-ta-ta-beep-a-da, boom. Skim, milk, the rat fleet, doo-da, doo-da. A guy said he really liked it, and then a bunch of rats ate his face. That's the sound he made when Concord passed away. I wish things turned out different, but either way I'm getting paid. Concord's dead, Concord's dead, and boy is my face red. When the game came out, everybody overslept. Concord's dead, Concord's dead. Holy crap, Lois, Concord's dead. When the game out, people played everything else instead. I drove my rusty pickup to the local game store door. Starfield gleamed upon the shelf, couldn't wait no more. Todd Howard spun his stories of galaxies afar, but when I fired up that game, I didn't get too far. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. They boasted endless planets, each one unique and new. But after planet number 3, I'd seen a deja vu. The critics didn't love it, gave it mediocre scores. Just another space misfire echoed across the boards. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, epic battles, but the AI wouldn't fight. Characters were wooden and the dialogue was trite. Todd promised me the cosmos, but left me in the dust. Now I'm trading in this game, it's betrayed my trust. Oh Todd, you weaved a fable of worlds beyond compare, but all I got were glitches and load screens everywhere. Still somehow I'm considering when the next game's not, 'cause hope's a stubborn thing, and I'll give it one more try. Oh Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I'll always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. Oh Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm here. I'm alive. Barely. Ready to rock and roll. How are you guys? So here's the deal. If anybody out in chat has an inhaler, tell me if this is normal, okay? Ever since I was like a teenager and I was doing the Krav Maga, like we went pretty hard also with Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but like ever since then, when we went really hard, if I go and I like really push myself into the danger zone of heart rate, like 185, that area.
Thanks, Luke, for the videos.
Thank you.
Especially the hour-long AC Shadows one.
Oh, you're welcome.
Got me interested in AC again.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I felt bad it was an hour long. But what are you gonna do? Thank you, Alex, for for that sub on Twitch. But what I was saying is, I can't take a deep breath. I can't take a full breath. And I thought that was just normal, and that's how people feel when they work out, which is why everybody hates working out. But I've come to learn that maybe that's not normal. And it's not normal to like go and like run for 15 minutes and then not be able to breathe for the rest of the day. It's kind of like when I realized I need glasses, where I thought it was normal to just get a mind-crushing migraine after reading for 10 minutes. I thought that was just what happens when you read, but apparently not. Apparently not. So I went to the eye doctor and immediately I put on the glasses. Within like a day or two, I was like, I can read books and not have a migraine. But it's because like my eyes had adjusted and were trying so hard to focus on stuff, even though they needed help with glasses. I was always just so focused on trying to read it that it would just cause a splitting migraine. And I didn't know. It's okay. Words give me headaches too. Is it Ventolin, salbutamol, or other medicated inhaler?
You're at Farinia, Vervain.
Well, so thank you, Salvador, for the membership re-upping. But what I'm asking is like, if you guys have inhalers, because I don't have one. What I'm asking is that the type of thing where an inhaler would help? Because I'm realizing maybe this isn't normal. And then like you should be able to go work out and then function for the rest of the day. Yes, albuterol, that's the key. Okay. So I must go. I'm going to need to schedule an appointment with a doctor and get an inhaler, because it's always been a thing that like I go and I do cardio and it nearly kills me, but I can go and I can weight lift for 2 hours and I'm fine. But a really intense cardio session, I like can't breathe. You know, I need Tren. Is that what I need? I just go to the doctor. So I got told I need something called Tren. Can I just have some of that?
Mimic Terror donated $49.99.
Jeez, Mimic, good to see you again.
Hey Luke, I just wanted to say I always looked up to you. Been watching since I was 17 or 18 and I'm 22 now. Just looking for advice.
Golly.
I got out of a 5-year relationship.
Oh, of course it cuts off there. I got out of a 5-year relationship last Monday. I'm doing better, but just curious if you had any wise words. Well, first of all, I'm sorry you got out of the long relationship. Breakups are never ever easy. I think the important thing, first of all, is just it does get easier and better. I mean, it always starts really, really dark and rough. But over time, you know, time heals all wounds, and you'll get functioning and you'll feel better, no doubt. But I also think it's just important to remember how big the world is, how many people are out there, and there's always surprises around every corner. And just when you think like, oh no, this isn't gonna work, you're gonna go like I did, because I went through a messy breakup and everything, and then I went to a theater class and I saw a girl playing the piano waiting for the teacher to show up. And fast forward, I'm married to her, we got 2 kids, we're living the dream. So, you know, life has a funny way of surprising you. Just when you think everything's rough, everything's dark, you know, sometimes as long as you're open and you're ready for surprises, life can always shock you. So, and I danced my sorrows away. Yeah. I just start crumping in front of the piano. Yeah, that's the key. It's like a mating call, a mating dance. But yeah. Don't worry. You will be totally fine. You're also only 22. You are very young. 5-year relationship at 22 is, I mean, proportional to your life. Yes, that's massive. But in the grand scheme of things, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Bro fell in love with Priscilla from The Witcher 3. Oh, Nikki, yeah, singing and playing piano and stuff. Yeah, she knew what she was doing. She was showing off. She knew what she was doing. You know. Yeah, but don't worry. Hang out with us. Talk about games. Get your mind off it. Video games are a great outlet for that. I know this is like a very weirdly specific thing, but when I went through a really messy breakup, what made me feel better was watching Anchorman. I don't know why. Anchorman and Dodgeball. Those movies, you'll be set. It'll make you feel way better. Yeah, way, way better. When in doubt. Jason, KCD2 when? Soon. I don't understand what's happening with those previews, because people are playing the previews, or they did a preview that was like 7 hours, and then they got sent review codes a month early, but there's people still posting their previews like in the last few days with like 70 hours of gameplay. So I'm like, so it's a review, but they're like, no, it's still a preview. I don't understand. It seems like a review, doesn't it? I'm Ron Burgundy. Yeah. You know, 60% of the time it works. Every time. Mimic, thank you for putting in perspective. My friend, sometimes can be hard to look at the bigger picture, but you've encouraged me to take a step back and smell the roses a bit. Yeah. Life's long. Life has a funny way of surprising you. And it's too short to wallow in you know, a stupor or wallow in self-pity or anything. You just got to get out there and enjoy life. And even when bad things happen, like, you deal with it, then you go find things that you can appreciate, you know? Just keep on rolling. Yeah, I've played 60 hours of KCD2 videos. Yeah, maybe I just honestly misunderstood like the the guidelines of the previews, but it is surprising that they will go and say like, you know, this is a preview, but I've played the entire game. I'm like, I guess I missed something. It didn't really matter for us because I recorded the video like in the days after the preview because I was going out of town. So I didn't really have the chance to change anything. But, you know, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Eden, I'm scared Spider-Man 2 is going to run poorly. Yeah, I mean, I have a thing pulled up. We'll talk about that because they've said like nothing about it. Some people are inferring that it's going to be a disaster. I'm not so sure. I think there's another kind of innocent explanation. Skill Up and Jake both said they were allowed to play the first 10-ish hours of story, but played a lot more with side content and stuff. Yeah, what I think it was is the preview embargo was like January 10th or 6th or 4th or something like that. And we did the preview event in New York like December 10th, I think it was, or 11th or 12th, something like that. And so I understood it to be you talk about the preview at that date. What I think the actual rule was no, you get that, and then we're going to send you review codes or codes to play even more of the game, and you just talk about your experience as of January whatever 10th. And so some people were able to talk about it for, you know, I played 40, 50, 60 hours, a lot of side content, all that, and I misunderstood, I guess, or whatever, but it's a good problem to have. I mean, when you have previews that are openly talking about spending 50, 60 hours of the game, and every single one of them is like universally positive. The only kind of mixed one that I've seen was, mixed isn't even the right word. It was Joraptor's video, because Jor was basically like, it's not for me. It's not for everybody. And it's not going to be kind of my cup of tea, but I can see why people love it. And I think that is totally fair. Like totally fair. Because it's not for everybody. It really is not. But if it is for you, based on my preview, of course, I've been playing the game, getting ready for the review, but based on my preview, as I said back then, if it is your type of game, it's going to be like amazing. It's going to blow you away. Yeah. Yeah. How many girlfriends does Joy have at the moment? I don't know. He's a player though. He's a player. Justice here. Let's see. Luke, I'm curious. What do you think of Hazelight's games? Freaking love them. Yeah, they're so crazy creative and brilliant with all their stuff. Even the one they did A Way Out, that game also, it's much clunkier than It Takes Two, but man, they just, every time you think that they've like run out of ideas, there's another crazy novel idea. It's fantastic. The AI chat summary is insane. I wonder if I can see it. Will it show me? Top chat? No, it won't tell me. What if I pop out chat? Will it tell me then? No. Somebody says, it says you gave advice about breaking. Okay, well that's accurate at least. Somebody else said that the AI summary said that I went through a breakup, so people came into the chat and were like, "What?" No, I don't know. Oh man. Oh, it said we gave you advice. Oh, you were giving me advice on how to deal with a breakup? Okay. Yeah, the AI summaries aren't quite there. They're getting there, but not quite. Not quite. Let's see. Yeah, here, I want to talk about this because this is freaking hilarious. Yeah. I did technically mention a breakup I went through years and years ago, but yeah. Anyway, Anyway, yeah, we've got a handful of things to touch on. I mean, yesterday was just a crazy day because we had AC Shadows reveals. We had all those previews and stuff go up. I did get told, let me pull up the notification because this was funny. This was pretty funny. Where is it? Yeah. First mistake Ronan made was going on Reddit, but Ronan went on Reddit. As expected, both Skillup and Luke are lukewarm on the game. I haven't seen Skillup's like impressions. I don't know what he said. Did you guys watch it? What did he say? I think I saw the title and it was like, I didn't have much fun or something like that. So he was kind of mixed, but he said, I said this plenty of times here, which is that Luke Stevens and Skillup would spend most of the time raging on the game or ragging on the game, and finding nitpick details to bitch about. Both speak to the same type of demographic, and that means a very Ubisoft bad take, which is funny because I get both sides of it. People call me a Ubisoft shill, but then they also, like the Ubisoft fans, say that I'm a hater. So I don't know what the hell like that means. I don't know. But there you go. He goes on, even Luke took it upon himself to immediately jump on the Yasuke hate train, not even 5 minutes into his video. Clearly he knows how to dog whistle to his audience. I mean, in the intro, I do sort of a TLDR or TLDW of the video, and I say I'm not convinced about side content, open world exploration, because we just didn't get to see any of that. And then I say Yasuke, I'm not convinced on his inclusion as a character because he's not like an assassin of Assassin's Creed, stylings. He doesn't really have any parkour abilities. The entire map has been built for Nawe to navigate and explore, and she's very good at it with swinging, with her grappling hook, climbing up castles and stuff. Yasuke can't do any of that. So some of the core staples of what makes an assassin in Assassin's Creed, Yasuke literally cannot do it. He's there to like smash stuff and provide melee combat options, but he's not a standard Assassin's Creed character, and so I just am not convinced at his inclusion. Pretty straightforward. Can he swim? Yes. They have the same swimming animations as far as I can tell from Odyssey and Valhalla, so they can both swim like really strangely fast for how much armor they're wearing. One of the people behind me, I think he was in QA for the company, he said that they're tweaking that still, so who knows. So he goes on, which this is also just funny because it kind of implies that if you don't like Yasuke, it's because you're dog whistling to like racists, I guess is the implication. Or maybe it's possible that like in terms of gameplay, he's also just not that compelling. I didn't mention anything about a scandal or about his race or anything like even narratively with him other than how you meet him and how the intro plays out. I didn't mention any of it. I talked purely from a gameplay perspective, which makes me wonder if he watched the video at all, which probably got 5 minutes in, then turned it off. I suggest to still watch their videos to get their take. Oh, appreciate you. But don't put too much weight into it. Hell, Skillup at least clearly stated that he isn't into modern AC games. I also said at the beginning of the video that I called Assassin's Creed
Valhalla
a travesty of open world design. So I feel like I was pretty clear with where I'm starting from. I love Odyssey, don't love Valhalla. So yeah, just wanted to get that off my chest because their takes are very predictable. As long as the internet discourse overshadows exists, they will remain glass half empty on their perspectives. I don't even like, this is the other thing. Some people are saying that I was glowing with the game. Other people are saying that I was hating on it. I think honestly, lukewarm is probably a fair enough point, but I think I'm more positive than negative. There's just huge pillars of the game I haven't seen. Like, we just haven't seen it. Like, haven't seen side quest stuff, which was a huge component of Odyssey and Valhalla. So to not see really any of it was kind of surprising. And I'm not the only one who thought that. And then also, open world adventure, huge component of recent AC games, really all of them, but especially recent modern ones. And we also just didn't get to see any of that because we were in a very small bubble. So, those things are big question marks. Then as for Yasuke, He just doesn't control anywhere near it as well as Nawe. He's not capable of the classic Assassin's Creed movements. He doesn't have a hidden blade. He doesn't even have eagle vision, which is, of course, a staple of AC games. So he literally does not play like an assassin, which makes me wonder why he's a protagonist in an Assassin's Creed game. Maybe we'll be convinced of it later, but as of right now, I just don't see it. Like, I just don't see it. Yeah, he has gear customization. He has that stuff. And what the creative director told me, it was either the creative director or the game director, but they said when they were doing their early designs and ideation of what Shadows would be, they realized they really wanted to explore the shinobi ninja fantasy, and then they also wanted to explore the samurai fantasy and play styles. And as a result, they just had to have two protagonists. But the problem is, once you start doubling down on like what makes a samurai and what they would be like in combat and movement and all of that, they stop looking like assassins. And to their credit, they didn't just give Yasuke the ability to do 15 backflips off a wall. They didn't give him a grappling hook. They didn't make him play just like Nawe, but bigger. They actually made him play totally differently, which I appreciate, because it would be kind of stupid if they just blended them all together. It's like, why are there two different characters if they play the same? But it doesn't change the fact that Yasuke doesn't play like an assassin, which makes me wonder why he's in an Assassin's Creed game. There might be cool narrative stuff that they do to explore it. There might be cool, I don't know, maybe he gains abilities throughout the game. I don't know. But as of right now, based on what we saw, I just don't understand where it's at. Even BBG says, I feel like he gave the game a lot of praise. LMAO, did they even watch his vid? Probably not. Yeah, I don't know. I depend on Luke's opinions on many games. He gives perspectives. It's up to you to decide whether to agree or disagree. Fun fact, after watching his review, I'm more inclined to buy AC Shadows. See, like, some people are, somebody in chat, even earlier, forgive me, I don't remember who it was, but somebody even earlier was like, I watched your video and now I'm really excited for AC Shadows. But then other people are thinking that because it wasn't just, this is amazing, therefore I'm bashing. I just don't understand. I don't understand. So anyway, what are you going to do about it? It's just people freaking out because they're freaking out. But I think that the video kind of speaks for itself. And if you watch it, I would just, whenever people are freaking out like this, you just simply ask, what part of it did you disagree with? Like, what description did you have a problem with? And often there's not a real answer. It's more of a gut check. We saw the same thing with Starfield. Like, you guys, a lot of you guys were here during the Starfield saga. And you guys saw a lot of the crap that went down with people that were freaking out for even calling into question certain components. The biggest thing was like how Todd was describing how you couldn't just freely run around the planet surface. And I was describing how that didn't make any damn sense. People freaked out. Dude, and you guys know, like, the story, we had somebody trying to break into our servers. We use these like Synology NASs for storing all of our footage and stuff. And I guess on a stream, I had the web browser thing that used to access the server open, and I didn't realize. And they were able to quickly pull like the description or the ID of the server, and they were trying to break into it to get Starfield footage because it was during the review process and period. It was insane. Like, it was crazy. There was also the thing where I got swatted, like, and that person said in multiple different venues that they were doing it. I think they were trolling, with their reasoning, but they said it was, I needed to stop talking bad about Starfield. Like, this is nothing. Okay. I've dealt with worse. Okay. All of that to say, I've dealt with worse. Okay. So this ain't nothing. People being like, oh, Luke's not being hard enough, or Luke's being too sweet to Shadows. I'm like, okay, honestly, that cool. Whatever. I just said what I think. Starfield turned me into an alcoholic. It might have turned Todd into an alcoholic too, based on the reception. You never know. There you go. Always with us. Yeah. Did they ever get that guy? I don't have an update right now. I hope to have an update soon. And I've been told there's reason for hope. So there we go. Let's see. DFigs561, thank you for subbing with Prime over on Twitch. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Yeah, thank you. Luke had him taken care of. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nobody can find him anymore. Let's see. Sohab says with a $5 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Before using inhaler, got to do exercise PFT pulmonary function test to evaluate for exercise induced asthma. Okay. Yeah, I probably should do that test. I think I've seen people do that test. Because it's only when I do like high intensity interval training, or I do like a longer, more sustained cardio workout, that it like really messes with me and flares up. So I think that's what it is. Neardridge says, you sneaky boy. I asked you the other day and you were under NDA. There was no way Joe Raptor was invited and you weren't. Oh, when Jor was saying he could, or he was going to Quebec. Yeah. Was that the Tuesday I got back from the Bahamas? I think it was. So the Quebec trip came together in the like 2-3 days before I left. Like as I was leaving Bahamas, they came back and were like, hey, if we moved the event dates, if we shifted your date forward a day, then would you be able to come? And I was like, okay, if you push it forward a day, I think I could probably do that. And so we frantically threw the thing together. But that's the thing. It's like in that case, I wasn't sure if I was allowed to say that I was going or not. So I just stayed quiet. And I think I remember your message, and I was just like, yeah, Jor's going, I think. So it'll be fun to see what he thinks. Because I was like, I don't know what I'm allowed to say. Caleb, thank you. I find myself getting tentatively excited for Shadows, only to remember if I get it on Steam, I have to use the crappy Ubisoft launcher. And I lose hype. That was one thing I couldn't get a clear answer on. Because I asked them, with the Animus Hub, will people like still need the Ubisoft launcher? And they wouldn't say. They were very coy about it. Because basically they would say stuff like the Animus Hub, right? So the Animus Hub is basically a new main menu. And that's pretty much it. I mean, they have like free rewards for doing quests in the game, but it's pretty unremarkable. But what they said, like standard has been, you launch the game on Steam, right? And then it boots up the Ubisoft launcher, which everyone hates. And then it boots up the game. What they're saying now is that this will happen, but somewhere in here, before the game, there is a new thing called the Animus Hub, right? And then from the Animus Hub, it boots up the game. But they wouldn't say if this bit is cut out now, which I thought was weird. Because I was like, if it launches the Ubisoft Connect launcher, why not just say that? And it might be because they're working on changing. Because they would say stuff with the Animus Hub, like, for example, they said, this Animus Hub is directly from when you launch Shadows, you go straight into the Animus Hub. And so it's like, when you you launch it through Steam, you press play, and then it launches the Animus Hub. And I think they realized what I was asking. Like, so it skips the launcher, and they got really weird, and they didn't want to be clear about it. So I would guess they're playing around with it or trying to convince the higher ups to let them cut out the launcher, because they don't love the launcher either. The big thing with the launcher was that's how they do cloud saves. So if you play the game on PC, the part of the whole point is that they want you to be able to play the game then on Xbox or xCloud, whatever, and pick up where you left off. Now the Animus Hub should replace that. And so you don't need the Ubisoft launcher for that key thing. So then what purpose does it solve? I mean, it literally doesn't serve any purpose. So I'm going to keep an eye on that, and I hope that we find out more in the future. But when I asked them about the Ubisoft Connect launcher, they got really weird. So I'm hoping they cut it, because it drives me crazy too. It's just, and why does it log you out like every 15 minutes? I don't get it. Like, why? Is my Ubisoft account that valuable? Like, that you really need to do that? Like, I don't understand. It's crazy. It's insane. Yeah. Oh, man. Any news regarding the Oblivion remake? Are you interested in it? So I guess we could do something on this real quick. Let's do a little segment on this, because I do think that this is a hot topic, not the store that angsty teens go to. Okay. Where's my button? News segment. So one of the more surprising, or for some people not surprising things at all, about the Xbox showcase that happened yesterday was that there was no revelation of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remake that has been leaked. I mean, we've seen the articles, this one from IGN, which points out that it's reportedly in the works and set for release this year. And this is after a handful of leaks that have corroborated each other. So there was notably it's not even really a leak. It was a document that was published as part of like the FTC hearings over the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard. And so it's not really a leak. Like, they released these documents themselves. But in that document, you can see that they had things like, for fiscal year 2022, Oblivion remaster. What? That never happened. Indiana Jones game. That, of course, got pushed. Doom Year Zero. Project Kestrel, Project Platinum, Elder Scrolls 6 for financial year 2024. This is what they thought they were going to achieve in July of 2020. So right in the midst of COVID, this was where they thought they would be, which is kind of insane to think that we would have Dishonored 3, the new Doom game would already like be out. Indiana Jones would be 2-3 years old at this point. Like, it's insane how much stuff shifted forward. But I mean, here we are. But the two big things, of course, that people noted that we're talking about here is the Oblivion remaster and a Fallout 3 remaster. This is the actual article and document where you can see each thing outlined in this way. You can also see estimated revenue forecasted for each of the projects. I'll move my face so you can see that. And it's really, really interesting. They expected the Fallout 3 remaster to garner about $190 million. Wow. Elder Scrolls 6, they expect $1 billion. They expect that to be a heavy hitter. Where's the other one? Indiana Jones, they were expecting first year 230 million, 55 in the second year, 25 in the third. Kind of a nice tail on it. I would love to know where these actually landed. Redfall, oh God, they expected Redfall to generate $155 million. And then they were expecting still 1, 2, 3 years after its launch, they were expecting Redfall to still be taking in about $20 million. Wow. That's crazy, dude. Can you imagine? Unbelievable. This is the other thing. Just tell me, I don't know, guys. Is ESO like actually this big? Because I feel like we see it at every summer showcase they do, but I hear like nothing about it. Like in the actual motions of the year, I don't know a single person who plays it. I don't know any of it. Like I don't know anybody who plays it. I know it gets steady expansions. Yeah, I've seen those. I just don't know what player counts are like. And it seems extremely ambitious to expect like an average of $150 million coming in. But maybe they actually are doing those numbers. Who knows? But you can see licensed IP game. I wonder what that was. 225 million. Yeah. But the big ones, again, Fallout 3 remaster. And of course, we have the Oblivion remaster that is also expected to generate 190 million just out the gate. They expected the Oblivion remaster to generate almost as much as the Indiana Jones game. And technically more than Redfall. So really, really interesting. Really, really interesting how this has shifted, because this is hilariously off. I mean, they're 3 years behind on most of it. It's pretty significant. But as a result, recent leaks have suggested that the Oblivion remaster is actually starting to come much closer. As you can see in this article back from IGN, obviously a number of these games were either delayed or outright canceled. Doom the Year Zero is now Doom the Dark Ages and is coming out this year. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle didn't launch until December of 24, and Elder Scrolls 6 got nowhere near financial year 2024. True. And do you want to know one of the most depressing things I found out about that? You want to know? Let's see. Profile. It was on. Oh yeah, this was also funny. Somebody made this. Klingon come deliverance. I'm sorry. I laughed so hard at this when I saw it. It's just so freaking good. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? I don't see it. Okay, maybe I'm not gonna find it. Damn it. I thought I posted it. Maybe I didn't. Oops. What a nice little segment. Okay. Huh. My bad. I thought I had posted that and I was going to pull this up. Cuz it was specifically the bit. Did you guys see the post about old? No, maybe. It was specifically that we are so far out from we are further out. Let me just try this again. I'm so sorry. My brain is fried. The thing that I found out that made me feel the most old. Do you know how old the reveal trailer is for Elder Scrolls 6? Do you remember? Do you remember when that was first shown? It was shown back in 2018. 2018. That is approaching this summer. That will be 7 years old. Back in 2018, this trailer was, June 10th, 2018. This trailer was roughly like 6-7 years out, 6.5 years, I think technically, out from the release of Skyrim. So we are now further out from when this trailer dropped than this trailer was to Skyrim's launch. That's how crazy distant. It's like the same thing when you realize that the amount of time that's passed between like 0 AD, like the fall of the ancient Egyptian kingdoms and everything, to us, that amount of time is shorter than the amount of time between those people back in 0 AD and when the pyramids were built 2,400 years before that. like breaks your brain, right? That's basically what we're dealing with, similar timescales too, when it comes to Elder Scrolls 6. But it's just a reflection of the time. They revealed everything so freaking early because ZeniMax wanted to sell to Microsoft, and they needed to get everything out on the table so people were really hyped, so that there was an incentive to sell ZeniMax and all of their studios for the biggest price tag they could get. And they did it, $7.5 billion ain't no small sum, but it led to a situation where now Elder Scrolls 6 was announced probably like a decade too early, because Elder Scrolls 6 probably, honestly, it probably is like 2027, 2028. I think 2027 at the earliest. Somebody was saying, I think we get it next year. I would be shocked, man. Because remember, they still claim that they're doing annual massive expansions for Starfield. Massive. But they still say they're doing that. So I just don't think we're getting it before 2027. I'd be shocked. Could it be so long that Todd retires after it? Nah, he's insistent he's going to at least do Fallout 5 as well, which unironically could be 2033 to 2020 or 2035. No joke, by the time Fallout 5 launches, it will probably have been close, very close to 20 years since the last Fallout game. 20 years. Like, no joke, if you're an adult, you could be a grandparent by the time the next Fallout game comes out. How insane is that? It's ridiculous. I will be able to play Fallout 5 with my kids because that's how much time will have passed. They will be in their like mid to late teens when that game comes out. That's ridiculous. Okay, it's insane. You can't think about it or you'll cry, it'll break your brain. But that's why people got really excited at the prospect of a Fallout 3 remaster and an Oblivion remaster. Now, the other elephant in the room, I'm sorry, Jacob, because you got to leave all this in, Jacob, because these diatribes, these like weird winding roads, this is part of the Luke Stevens experience, okay? But one of the other things that got really intriguing is that these are all titled as remasters, and none of the recent leaks refer to them as remasters. They refer to all of these as remakes, just full-on remakes, which is interesting. So as you can see, MP1ST, is that supposed to be moist? I think that might be what they say. I'm going to call moist if it's not, or multiplayer first. See, this is the thing, trying to read an internet user's name. It's like either it's multiplayer first or it's moist. And if I choose one and I'm wrong, it's going to be way off. MP, I'm going to say MP. We'll do that. So MP first reported details for the unannounced game were accidentally released by a former employee, video game support studio Virtuous. Microsoft declined to comment when contacted by IGN. This is one of those things where silence says a lot. Says a lot. You guys are right. Moist. I'm going to just call him Moist. I think you're right. So according to Moist, Virtuous has made Bethesda's much-loved open-world role-playing game using Unreal Engine 5, which suggests a significant rework rather than a more straightforward remaster. Gameplay changes were allegedly detailed, including tweaks to stamina, sneaking, blocking, archery, hit reaction, and even the heads-up display. As reported by Moist, blocking was changed with action games and Souls-likes in mind because the original system was too, quote, boring and, quote, frustrating. Sneak icons are now allegedly highlighted with damage calculation revamped. Excuse me. My lungs are trying to kill me. This is why you don't work out, kids. Right here. I'm a shining example. The knockdown comes from stamina being depleted, is reportedly harder to trigger, and the HUD was redesigned to make it easier to understand. Elsewhere, hit reactions were added to make response clearer, and archery was reportedly modernized in both first and third person perspectives, which all of those sound like significant improvements and enhancements. And recent leaks and rumors suggest that this comes in 2025. It comes later this year. Now, with the Xbox Showcase, the developer direct, I should say, that happened yesterday, a lot of people were expecting to see something about this Oblivion remake. Just something. I mean, they had this big mysterious game that they showed at the outset. Where's the splash screen? Yeah, this right here, where they were like, "Ooh, please stand by. Some secret thing some secret announcement is expected." Turns out it's Ninja Gaiden, which is in its own right a massive announcement. I mean, that's huge. Also, just for Xbox specifically, to have such a close relationship with Platinum Games and Team Ninja, like the idea of that happening 3-4 years ago was insane, and now they're making an active effort to reach out to these Eastern developers and stuff. It's really, really impressive, because that's always been a massive hole in the Xbox lineup, are JRPGs and these Japanese and Korean action games, and it's just now they're actually taking steps to fill out that side of their catalog. But after that was revealed, there was no mention of an Oblivion remake or remaster. It just, they focused on other stuff, Expedition 33, which looks phenomenal. I'm very excited, in the words of Borat, much excited for this game. I'm so excited. So they focused on other very good stuff. But the other big takeaway for me that was very surprising was the release dates. All of these, except for Ninja Gaiden, which is, they're publishing it. Their core games, they're also like Expedition 33 is not exclusive either, but you get what I mean. Like these big games on Game Pass are coming early April, mid to late April, mid-May. And so they took everything, like these big heavy hitters, a lot of which, like I expected Doom to be this fall. I expected Expedition 33 to be like December. I thought South of Midnight probably early, but I if you asked me 6 months ago where these would land, I would not have guessed they'd be landing basically within like a month and a half of each other. And that suggests that Xbox also has some more tricks up their sleeve for later in the year. Because what's one of the other things we found out in the FTC hearings? We got to see emails from Phil Spencer to the rest of his team at ZeniMax, Bethesda Softworks, at all of these different groups. And those guys, or those emails, very specifically showed Phil Spencer kind of berating them for not accurately reporting release dates. And the reason he was frustrated by that, not just for budgetary reasons, because they would have to delay it and that would cost more, but also just because he's like, we have basically now a year where we have nothing coming out. I think it was it 2022 where they had basically nothing. He's like, this is a major problem and we're not going to do this again. We need to have a steady release of games. We need to have a steady drip every month or two. Something has to be coming out, and we need to be accurate about when we say our games are coming out. We need to be serious, accurately evaluate it, talk with your QA teams, and get an accurate estimate. Because I swear to God, if we have to delay something again for a year, I will be livid, which is a totally fair frustration to have when you're running a like massive multi-billion-dollar business like this. So with that in mind, to see them releasing these games so close together, I think suggests two things. Number one, they're terrified of GTA 6. They don't want anything near it because that's just going to cannibalize everybody's spending and everybody's time. So they're like, give it some time earlier in the year because GTA 6 is definitely not coming in May. So we'll just let it have its own, breathing room. That's number one. The second thing I think it suggests is that they have other stuff that they consider to be more, would the term be less elastic demand that's coming later this year. And all I mean by that is that they are probably expecting the Oblivion remake, I don't think that performance is going to go up or down, whether it's close to GTA 6 or not. Because the people that are going to be playing that are people buying it for nostalgia's sake, primarily, I would guess. And so I think that for those people, and like the other pieces, I don't think that it's going to do ridiculous numbers. I mean, maybe the first few days, but I don't expect it to like be a 10 million unit seller, right? So I think that lowers the pressure for them and makes it so it could go close to a GTA 6 or another massive AAA game, and that's not that big of a deal. Like if the Oblivion remake is launching the week before Ghost of Yotei, I think that's okay. I don't think it'll matter that much, and I think they know that too. So with that, I mean, it suggests that they have games still coming later in the year that are less sensitive to disruption from other big AAA games. And it also kind of indirectly suggests that they have other games up their sleeves, because these are some of the biggest ones that they focused on a lot in the last 12 months. Of course, they have other ones like Fable, for example, is a massive one that, according to reporting, has been extremely expensive for them to make. So that needs to be a big hit. And so there's just all of these other little bitty things. But I think that this showcase, seeing these release dates the way that they are, and the fact that there is no Oblivion remake announcement or Fallout 3 remake announcement, I think all of this suggests that they have some more tricks up their sleeve for later this year. And I think we see those this summer. Last summer's showcase was insane, as I'm sure you remember. They had a ton of stuff, and Sony basically didn't compete at all. I don't think they even had a showcase, did they? I don't even remember if they had a showcase, which I think, demonstrates that it wasn't that remarkable. They did their Ghost of Yotei showcase later in the year, I'm pretty sure. So, Sony just didn't even really show up. So I think that they have some really cool announcements probably expected for this summer at their Xbox showcase. And as a result, like, I think that the Oblivion remake and probably a Fallout 3 remake are all probably something we could expect to see at that time. Because they're not going to show up with just nothing for this summer. They want to continue building the hype and excitement. But I think this was the biggest surprise. I mean, Doom looking great, not really a surprise. Expedition 33 somehow looking even better than it did before. That was a pleasant surprise. But the biggest surprise is the release dates being so close together. People were saying in chat there's not going to be a lot of like cannibalization. That's true. I don't think like South of Midnight players are probably going to have a lot of crossover with Doom players. Some people just like playing everything that they can get their hands on, sure. But I don't think there's a lot of crossover between the core audiences of each of these games, which is why they can get away with it on a service like Game Pass. But I do think we're still getting the Oblivion remake later this year. The Fallout 3 remake, maybe. But that's the other piece of this that I'm so interested in, is going to be like how it looks and how it runs. Because Bethesda's making Elder Scrolls 6. There's no doubt about it. I mean, they are. And they're using Creation Engine 2 again. Very specifically, they said Creation Engine 2. So it's going to be the same tools that they built Starfield in. So expect it to probably have a couple of bells and whistles tweaked and added here and there, but it's going to basically look and run like Starfield. That means load screens going into interior buildings. That means everything needs to be segmented apart from itself. So when you go into a castle, that's going to be a separate instance that you load into. That's what it's going to be built around. If they are really truly building Oblivion from the ground up, remaking it, that would to me suggest that you could have a totally seamless open world, and you could reasonably get into a situation where like the remake for Oblivion and the remake for Fallout 3 look and run way better than the cutting edge AAA game that BGS is putting out, which would be really, really interesting. Because again, as you saw in those documents, they expect Elder Scrolls 6 to make $1 billion. At least they did back in 2020. $1 billion. That's no small feat. Okay, that is Hogwarts Legacy levels of success. And Elder Scrolls is massive. Don't get me wrong. It's massive. But I would be really interested in seeing how that plays out, especially in the shadow of Starfield, which I think dampened hype a good bit. And, that's going to be a really interesting thing to see. So I'm buckled up. Almost unrealistic expectations. I think people's expectations, maybe you have to add on to that, unrealistic expectations for BGS. Maybe that's the standard. Because I think people are expecting them to keep up with the peers and the competitors in the industry right now. And I don't know how you could possibly argue that like Starfield on a technological level is on pace with what other big AAA open world studios are doing. It's just not. And with Elder Scrolls 6, I think it's going to be even more pronounced. So we'll see. But to go back to the earlier question that you guys asked like 30 minutes ago or whatever it was, what about the Oblivion remake? I think we see it this summer. I think it still is coming probably September-ish. I think that's a good time for it. Some people were saying maybe we see it March 20th because that's the release date originally. Maybe they do like a teaser on that day. Maybe they do another showcase. I'd be surprised at that because I think they've got something big or a few big things, and I think that they should just wait until the summer and once again try to dominate the summer news cycle. You'll be going head to head with like Nintendo, who almost certainly will have a lot of stuff. It's expected that the Switch 2 launches in June probably, but Xbox versus Nintendo is a very different game than Xbox versus PlayStation. PlayStation might have some stuff, a deeper look at the Naughty Dog game, Intergalactic. It took me a while to think of it. So we might see something like that. We'll see, Ghost of Yotei. We'll see maybe something from the Gorilla game. We'll see Fair Game $. So they'll probably have some stuff, I would guess. But I think that Xbox has a ridiculous amount of games that they could throw out there, which is going to be really interesting. But the year is already jam-packed. And just 2 weeks ago, not even two, just a week ago, we were like, there's a big hole in like April and May. I wonder what's going to fill it. Looks like, maybe the Switch 2? No, that's looking more like June. And then Xbox just comes in here and is like, yeah, we're going to put 3 big AAA games in there. Have fun. It's like, Jesus, dude. Man. But time will tell. But I do think we see Oblivion remake this year. Fallout 3 remake, they might save for next year, depending on where it is and what stage it's at. It also could have been canceled. That's the other thing. We haven't heard the same amount of stuff about the Fallout 3 remake as we've heard about the Oblivion remake. But again, time will tell. Yeah, and Gears either. Oh, God. There's so much, dude. There's so much. Prep your wallets, man. Prep your wallets. Okay. JFD, what will you play GTA 6 on, Xbox or PS5? I honestly do not know at this point. I love the Xbox Play Anywhere. I think a lot of it's going to come down to whether or not it supports the xCloud streaming thing. If it does, I'll buy it on Xbox because I love the xCloud. Just pick up what I do is I have my Samsung Galaxy Tab 9 Ultra, whatever it's called, and I set that up with the xCloud app, and then I have my Xbox controller connected to the tablet, and so you can just play even laying in bed, which is awesome. But if it doesn't support that and they're not doing that, then I think I probably play on PlayStation. That'd be my guess. Blake, thank you for the 2. Is AC Shadows getting a Discovery Tour? It better. I don't recall them saying anything about a Discovery Tour. So maybe, but I feel like if they were doing it, we probably would have heard about it by now. There's one of the other things I forgot to mention in that video, there's also no mini games. So there's no Orlog, there's no Gwent spin-off or anything. They're not doing mini games, and so I wouldn't be surprised if they also cut the Discovery Tour. Boo Boo, also thank you for the 5. What do you think of Expedition 33 being $50? Looks amazing, but it kind of made me wonder why it's not $70. Perhaps it's really short. I think it's a small team for one, so they don't want to rock the boat too much with price. They're not a AAA studio, so they're not going to pretend like they have to price it there. And the other piece of it is, I think, exactly what you pointed out, which is I expect it to probably be shorter than we expect. It's a good problem to have because you're like, I love it so much. I hope there's more. But I would expect it's probably like a 10-hour game. Like, you got to remember, it's like less than 20 people making it, I'm pretty sure. It's a small team. And for that production quality, I just don't think you're going to be able to get that quality with a 50-hour runtime. Hopefully there's replay value with regard to like the builds and stuff. So maybe you can go back through it and have fun that way, and maybe that's how they build it out. I'm not sure. But yeah, I do hope that there's something there. I'm pulling up the chat on this screen so I can see it. So I can see all your messages myself. Okay. I think KCD 1 started with 12 people. I don't think by the end it was 12 people. It's always the tricky thing because every game kind of starts with a tiny team and then it builds and balloons up. It's like, I'm pretty sure that the team that is making AC Shadows, it started with like 5 producers and designers working on it 5 years ago. And then they just kind of like built it out. KCD1 was Kickstarted, I think. Yeah, I think maybe the prototype they built for the Kickstarter was 12 people. And then once they got Kickstarted, then they hired more people, I think. But don't quote me on that. I'm not familiar. Any thoughts on EA stock price crashing? Ooh, that's a good question. EA stock. It's in the red. Let's do that. New segment. Should I do this? Hold on. Let's start it this way, Jacob. EA stock. It's in the red. Really bad too. It's not good, man. In the last I gotta go 5 days because they had close of business on Wednesday, pretty normal. And what they do is they do earnings calls and financial calls and stuff with investors after the end of the business day, typically, or more specifically at the end of the trading day. That's typically when you would expect to see it. And you notice this is I'm gonna get like really nerdy on you guys for a second, okay? So I don't want anybody like bullying me because I'm gonna get really technical, but this is my like bread and butter. I have a degree in corporate finance, as I'm sure you've heard me say a bajillion times. So I'm gonna get really technical. This is bad. This goes down, and this makes us sad. For this direction takes us deeper towards the underworld. So it's not what you want to see. It's a significant drop, okay? It's pretty standard to see a bad earnings call or maybe a bad analyst shift. Maybe you drop 2 points, 3 points. 4 is a big deal. Apple just the other day, I only know this because I hold a good amount of Apple stock in one of my retirement accounts. And so they got kind of slaughtered right here. They're down 4% over the last 5 days. They were trading up around 230 and then they had this plummet. And there's a number of reasons for it, but basically there's a handful of things. They have significantly lower expectations with iPhone sales. The Apple Intelligence thing has been a total flop. The Apple Vision Pro has been a total disaster. So you might see a 3-4% drop even with really, really bad news. To see a close to 20% drop to me suggests a significant adjustment on the part of investors. Because what you have to understand is with what's a good outlet for this? Maybe Market Watch. I just want to know analyst price targets. Yeah, here's a good example. So basically how financial analysts work with different companies is they will have a sort of directional indication, but then they'll do something called a price target. And all that is that they calculate out what they think the company is worth, and they divide that value by the number of outstanding shares. And that gives you an estimated stock price that should be fair. And so there's difference, differences with all these, but you can see average recommendation is that it's overweight. The average target price is 150, number of ratings 27, last quarter's earnings, outlined all of this here. Stock price targets 183 is the highest, meaning there's analysts that think that the stock is worth 183. And then the low is like 115, average is 151, current price is 118. And this can usually give you a pretty solid idea of the health of a company, but also the confidence in current leadership, which is the big and perhaps most telling thing. Because what happened with Ubisoft? Ubisoft is worth, according to most analysts, just Assassin's Creed and Rainbow Six, just those two franchises should be worth between $7 and $10 billion. Do you know their current market cap? Do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man who lives on Drury Lane? Their current market cap is 1.45 billion euros. So what's happening? Why is the current value, if you add up all the shares, why is the current value of the company only 1.45 billion if their IP should be worth 7 to 10? Shouldn't that mean the company is worth at least 7 to 10? Yeah, it should. But this gap between what it should be worth and what they think it's worth is basically a discount they apply for a lack of confidence in leadership, for mismanagement, for hemorrhaging money, all sorts of different directions with projects that don't make any sense, NFT projects, all of that. And it can tell you a lot about the confidence in current leadership, the current direction of the company, and all of that. It can indicate a lot. And I mean, if you also just rewind the clocks, I mean, you can also tell in terms of the stock's trajectory, which is an actual financial term. I mean, we joke about it because you see TikTokers being like, see, this is called a bunny hop movement. When the stock drops like this, you can expect it to bounce like this, like a bunny. And it's total nonsense. But in this case, there actually is a trajectory the company's going towards, and it's down, which is bad. Again, getting a little technical here. But with EA, basically what's happened is that their entire business has been built on a few core franchises. It's been built with like FC, like all these sports games, like Madden. They print money, billions of dollars, an insane number. And that's basically what keeps a company like EA afloat. Like even when I went, I wonder if I could actually find this on Google Maps. Because I didn't believe it until I saw it myself. EA, where was that? San Fran? I think it was San Francisco. I don't remember where I've been. Show me satellite view. Almost. Yeah. Okay, where is it? EA headquarters somewhere. Hold on. Because I didn't believe this until I saw it. EA San Francisco. It was in Redwood. Here it is. Their campus literally has a football field. Okay. This is EA Redwood. It literally has a football field in it. Okay. That's how important the football, whatever franchise or IP, this is how important this is to their business. They literally have a football field on their campus. Nobody's playing football there, but they have it because they can. I was actually here for the Dragon Age previews. We stayed somewhere nearby, but we walked here. And so I remember walking along here and seeing the football field. And I think the Dragon Age preview was like in this building, I want to say. I think it was in this room. I don't know. It's been a minute. But yeah, they have a football field on their campus because why not? Who wouldn't, you know? Yeah, 1.9 stars. What are the reviews about? Yeah, it's about like mobile games. They can't maintain Sims 4 properly. They have single-handedly ruined several of the greatest video game franchises, FIFA, Madden, Star Wars, Battlefield, via monopolization and abusing younger generations' addictions to microtransactions. I got banned for something that's not my fault. I wrote a message to them explaining and they declined it. That's funny, they got banned. Yeah, the reviews, Google reviews for software companies never made a lot of sense to me. But anyway, so the point is their business is basically built around these core franchises, and those franchises have not actually been doing that great. So there was the revelation, of course, that we talked about yesterday, that BioWare's big project, Dragon Age, the Veilguard, they missed their estimated sales by about 50%. The wording was really, really sloppy, though, because what they said was we engaged 1.5 million players. And that is a really strange way of saying we sold 1.5 million copies, right? Because I don't think that's what that means. I think we engaged 1.5 million players means that they had 150 or 1.5 million people that booted the game and played through it, or some of it. But I think that number includes returns on Steam. I think that number includes, like I gave this example the other day where I own the game, but I have like game sharing set up on my PS5. So Nikki played it on my copy of the game, but that was two people playing on one copy that sold, like one sale, right? But two players. And so I think that that's kind of how they're getting to that inflated number. So the actual miss might have been bigger than 50% because they expected 3 million. But as I've said, 3 million for a game like Dragon Age Veilguard would not have turned a profit, okay? And this is what I said for like the last month or two, was that I don't think they expected to make a profit on Dragon Age. They spent so many years making it. They restarted development so many times. I think they knew they were going to lose money. The question was how much, right? Because if I'm expecting to lose $100 on something, but then I find out I'm only going to lose 50, that outperforms expectations, right? That gets me excited. I like that. But then if I find out that I'm actually losing $150, then I'm really ticked off and I'm bummed. And that seems to be what happened with Dragon Age Veilguard, is that they expected to lose X amount, but they actually lost 1.5X. And so that's why they're really upset. But that's not, some people are saying the failure of Dragon Age caused the company to go into free fall. I don't think that that's really what's driving this based on what I've seen. What I've seen is a lot of frustration, specifically around the performance of FC. And as you can see, so where's an example of this? Yeah, they filed an 8K form, which these are public. You can just Google EA 8K forms and it's available on their website. They published their 8K form after the close, and they dropped their net booking estimations. They're going to report full earnings for the third quarter on February 4th. And specifically, they pointed to weakness in its global football division, which includes the EA Sports FC soccer games. It also flagged disappointing sales of Dragon Age. Absolutely. CEO Andrew Wilson acknowledged both titles had underperformed, adding that EA responded by delivering a comprehensive gameplay refresh earlier this month. Wall Street wasn't impressed. At least 3 analysts downgraded the stock to hold from buy after they filed their preliminary results. And that's because they expect the results of the full financials on February 4th are going to be really bad. Because if this 8K, which is just like a sort of snapshot of the company right now, If that's not looking good, the final report that gives you all the nitty-gritty details that they can't really spin, that's probably not going to be that great. Yeah, Clay Griffin, who covers EA for the telecommunications, media, and technology resource house Moffett-Nathanson, wow, said in a note on Thursday that the underperformance of EA Sports FC should be a major worry for the publisher because the series' live game mode Ultimate Team, quote, has been the heart of EA's entire business for more than a decade. And that's why people are freaking out. That's why you see this drop. Because the core of their business is looking weak. And that's why people are freaking out. It's a fair reason to be worried. If your entire business is built around one core product, and that product starts to slip, you see downgrades, you see massive shifts in investor sentiment. And you even are seeing it, as I showed you earlier, with Apple, where Apple's whole business basically is built around iPhones. Like, that's a huge component, massive component of their business. And it's not doing good. Like, it's starting to see significant drops in people upgrading. The amount of time between upgrades is increasing. Apple wants you to upgrade your phone every freaking year. But they're seeing the amount of time between the average person's upgrade is increasing significantly. That's not good for them. They also aren't seeing a lot of adoption in China. They're also having trouble getting approval to start selling iPhones in Indonesia. Like, the core tenet of their business is really struggling. And so you see downgrades. For EA, the problem is that they don't have MacBooks. They don't have an app store. They don't have all this other stuff that Apple has to help their business flow. FC is like why they're a multi-billion-dollar company. And if that goes away, they're screwed. And they know it. And that's why investor sentiment is shifting. So over the next month, especially after February 4th, you're going to see them updating, all these analysts updating their estimated earnings or estimating share price. And that'll tell you really where they're landing. Because if the full earnings are really not very good, I think you're going to see further downgrades in the stock price, because if FC is truly starting to falter and they're not going to keep up pace, like, the whole company doesn't work anymore, so they've got to drop it off. But all of this to say, people who are trying to make this out like Veilguard is, Veilguard did badly, therefore EA's stock is plunging. If you actually read what analysts are saying, the guys that are making multi-billion-dollar trades on these companies, what they're saying is the real cause for panic is FC, because that's the core of their business. Like, did Apple's failure of the Vision Pro, did that really cause much trouble for their business? Not really. If they had an iPhone that flops, that would be a big problem. So, Veilguard, without a doubt, a train wreck. But Veilguard is not the main reason you're seeing this 18% drop, okay? Veilguard, maybe, if FC was doing okay, you might see a 1 to 2% drop because of Veilguard, because oh, bummer, we missed out on 1.5 million units. But I don't think investors really expected Dragon Age to turn a profit either. I think FC is what's causing them to freak out. How much would a flagship phone F up actually affect people? Do you remember the Samsung Galaxy Note 7? Do you remember that one? I could say it's been burned into my memory. No? There's no way you don't remember this. There's no way. The Samsung Galaxy Note 7 is a recalled and discontinued Android-based phablet developed, produced, marketed by Samsung, unveiled on August 2nd, 2016. It was officially launched on August 19th. And as you can see, they go here. Samsung suspended sales of the Note 7 and announced an informal recall on the 2nd of September 2016, following the discovery of a manufacturing defect in the phone's batteries, which caused some units to generate excessive heat and combust, which is a fancy way of saying they would burst into flames and they would burn so hot. There was even a story of one of these phones being in someone's pocket on an airplane when it set off, and then it burned through the floor of the plane. They found it in the cargo hold. It's crazy, dude. There's videos of these popping off like that. It's a little insane. Yeah, you can see all these warnings posted everywhere. So I had one of these phones. I loved it dearly. It was my favorite phone like ever at the time. You know, it was my first big shift away from my like budget phone. So it was my first like big premium phone that I saved up for. I was working at Best Buy and saved up for it. Actually, was I at Best Buy during this time? It was close. Either I was about to start at Best Buy or I hadn't yet. But either way. Yeah, they did this full recall. And I remember when I had to go in because it was a mandatory recall, they bricked the phones remotely. Even if you wanted to keep it, you couldn't. They bricked it remotely so it wouldn't power, wouldn't do anything. So you had to bring it back into, in my case, Best Buy or Verizon. And they took the phone, and I still remember like they had these metal like bags. I'd never seen anything like it, but like imagine a bag. It looks like the bag was made from steel wool, though I'm sure it was made of something much tougher than steel wool that, you know, burns. But they put the phone in that bag and like had to seal it, and then they locked it in a cage within this bigger metal box. It was like they were acting as though it was a freaking bomb, because it was, you know, it was insane. Because I even asked him, I was like, can I sign a waiver and keep it? Which in hindsight was really dumb of me. But I was like, it's not going to explode. It's not going to happen to me. Oh, like a Faraday bag? Probably, honestly. It probably was something like that. So you couldn't remotely power it on. And it probably something like that. But it was an awesome phone. But this was Samsung's big flagship phone for that year. And they literally exploded. So just when you think there's no way Apple or somebody could have a disaster, like a disastrous phone launch that could really affect the company, it's happened before. The fact that Samsung was able to dig themselves out of it is pretty remarkable. But you also notice the Note series no longer exists. The S25 and S24 Ultra, I use an S24 Ultra. This is the spiritual successor to the Note series. It still has the stylus and everything, but as you can see, it still has the stylus and all that. But yeah, it basically over the next few years, they just decided to dump the Note branding because they're like, it's just, people keep being like, what phone do you have? The Note? Oh yeah, it looks really cool. Is that the one that explodes? And they just like, you know what? Let's just not bother, you know? What if the Vision Pros start exploding? Then the 7 people that own them will be in danger, I'm sure. That's another insane one. Like, that was everywhere for like a solid week and a half, and then everyone stopped talking about it. Because I think most people returned them. Like, for real. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's a whole thing, but have fun cutting that one, Jacob. You don't need to include the bit about exploding phones, but I think the whole look at EA versus Apple and the whole thing should work as a segment. Okay. What else do we have? Oh yeah, Nick Tech pointing out this, saying if this shot is actually in game, this looks fire. I said in my video, AC Shadows is one of the most visually like stunning games I've ever had the chance to play. And the team was saying that the bells and whistles they've added in the newer builds after the delays are even more impressive and crazy. So we'll see. But allegedly, like, this is an actual gameplay screenshot. So we'll see. We'll see. It's very beautiful. Very, very mindful, very demure. Oh yeah, I want to talk about this because this is funny. News segment! Let me catch one of these real quick. I didn't realize you guys had sent more in. Thank you guys for the super chats and everything. You guys are being very generous today. Thank you. About time FIFA dropped off. I know, Loxy. I don't understand like how so many people will spend so much money on these, but especially because it's so transparently predatory. It's like, yeah, we're gonna sell you packs, like card packs with each of the players in it, and you just keep pulling. It's insane to me. But they, like, people will spend thousands of dollars on these. It's ridiculous. It really is. It's like, I don't personally know anybody that has like a gambling addiction or a mobile game addiction like that. The extent of it I've seen is like, you know, DSP on YouTube. An OG of YouTube that now is a full-blown lolcow and just casually and very openly spends hundreds of thousands of dollars over years on mobile games. Like, I cannot fathom that. It's unbelievable. Especially because if you like and then I'll move on, but like his whole thing is that he's known as like an e-beggar, which is just somebody that, you know, begs for money on the internet, and that's how they make their living. And so he's well known for that, constantly like being passive aggressive or downright aggressive to get people to give him money. And he makes over $100,000 a year. Over $100,000 a year. And he spends it, like, the vast majority of it on a mobile game. And then he goes back to begging people for more. Like, that is what I find really detestable. I'm like, and he lies about it too. He still says that, like, the account that they track isn't his. He's like, no, I totally sold it. Okay, dude. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, we're scheduling the inspection, the insulation inspection for the other room. Once we finish that room, I'm going to be moving all of this into the other room. Would you guys like a stream? Like, what if I had Jacob come over and we did like an impromptu, not really impromptu if we're scheduling it, but what if we did like a candid stream of moving the studio into a new space? And it's just like on one of our phones or something, but then Jacob like is filming while we're moving the studio over and stuff. Would that be cool? I think it'd be very different, you know? That sounds fun and relaxing. Yeah, I'm there. I'll watch anything. I think it could be cool. Yeah, I think it could be cool. Because especially people ask me all the time, like, how do you get the setup working the way that it does? Because I've shown you, like, Alexa, turn off studio. Okay. How cool is that? You see Knifey? Do you see Knifey? People don't recognize Knifey very often. But Knifey is like an animated frame picture or whatever thing that they sent me. But it's like an actual video of Knifey. And he just sits on the shelf. Alexa, turn on studio. Okay. Booyah. But he just sits there watching. There you go. Where's the hot tub streams? That's a fantastic question. See, last time I was where there was a hot tub was when we went out for a vacation, like more like a long weekend in Scottsdale. I made the mistake of going to Scottsdale in July. Don't do that. Dude, I still remember the guy on the radio saying, just as a note, make sure when you pull up to a red light, don't stop your car on the steel plates if they're doing construction. It can melt your tires. More at 11. It's like, what the hell do you mean it'll melt your tires? It's so hot. You know how sometimes they do road work and they lay out steel plates over it. It was so hot, the sun was so hellish that if you parked your car on one of the steel plates, it could melt the tires off your wheels. I was like, this is another level. I've been to Scottsdale. We were there like a year and a half ago for New Year's. We stayed there over New Year's. Beautiful, wonderful. Like a cool 75, 80 degrees in the day. You go swim in the pool a little bit. You go to the mall. It's just nice and kind of a warmer climate. Beautiful, beautiful. In July, you step outside and it feels like the world is trying to kill you. It's another level, dude. I can't do it. I know people live there year round. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. At least it's dry. Because that's the other thing. I spent some time when I was a kid in Houston, and that's like living in an armpit, dude.
Luke, I've been watching you for a couple of years and you're an harmonious broken record. Should we have a bingo card for the things you say repeatedly?
I think
Cheers.
so. I think so. Maybe we do like a reward thing where it's like a literal bingo sheet, and if in one stream I say the same thing, or like I say the series of things a number of times, then there's some reward. Like the person that catches it and has the timestamps gets a free AAA game or whatever. That could be cool. That could be really cool. I did have an idea where we could do a segment where it's like, don't laugh, but you guys, like members, submit clips and stuff. And then if you're the one that makes me laugh when I watch your clip, you win like a $70 Steam gift card or something. So you can just get whatever game you want. I think that could be cool. We'd have to set it up because I'd need like the clips reviewed, of course, before we watch it on stream to make sure nobody's submitting anything stupid. But I think stuff like that to like give back could be super cool. So I think Jacob and I are going to brainstorm and figure that out. Yeah, you win a free copy of Veilguard. Why is no one submitting clips? Nobody wants to play? That'd be pretty funny. That'd be pretty freaking funny. I'd have to practice though, dude. I'd crack too easy. Oh, man. Dude, I'm dying. I need that inhaler. I gotta figure that out. Okay. Let me finish catching on these. Copmando, thank you for the 10. Very generous. Thank you, my friend. Have you heard anything about the AC Black Flag remake / remaster, if that's happening? It looks like it will be out later this year. I know. We could actually see a Fallout 3 remake, an Oblivion remake, and a Black Flag remake all within the same like 3-month period. That's crazy, but we could see it. So my understanding is Black Flag remake is actually much further along than people think. So I expect to see that. How are they making the remake so fast? So with like Black Flag specifically, because the Oblivion remake has not come along quick. That was supposed to, according to their internal records, that was supposed to be a remaster, and it was supposed to launch like 3 years ago. So it's changed and evolved, and they went with a remake instead of remaster. So there's that. But with the Black Flag remake specifically, it's a lot of just kind of like swapping stuff out. So is my understanding for that particular one, is they have all the source files, they have all the recordings, they have all this stuff, and they just kind of go through and brute force their way through the entire game, rebuilding it. But now they can rebuild it with modern tools. And the new Anvil engine apparently is like, one developer said it was a joy to work in. He said it was rebuilt and made to be able to pump through big stuff efficiently. So they're able to build bigger games more efficiently than ever. So I think it's reasonable to expect to see the Black Flag remake in maybe November or something. I think we could see that. Let's see. Mason, thank you for the 5. Luke just started playing Mass Effect 1 and was curious of your thoughts of it as a franchise and if there is any Mass Effect 5 news. No news for it. I'm sure BioWare after, because I don't think that most of the studio people knew how the game did. I don't think they would tell them. That's handled by the higher ups. So I think they found out how many copies people engaged with at the same time as all of us. And so I think they are also worried, seeing, oh, we really missed by that much. That would be my guess. Let's see. AC video is great, by the way. Oh, thank you, Mason. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad people, at the very least, based on the stats I have, people are actually watching it. And there's been other AC videos I've done in the last few months since AC Shadows dropped and kind of got clung on to by that group, you know, where they just like come in and try to mass downvote stuff. This one though, people are responding and watching, which is nice. Excuse me. Zach, thank you for the 10. Thank you, my friend. Well, I'm excited to play Doom, the Doom game. I'm really excited to see how far the new id Tech engine is pushing the new Xbox and PS5. Keep up the great content, man. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's refreshing to see a game engine that's not just Unreal Engine 5. So I'm excited to see what they're doing with it, especially because they're cranking it up a lot. Like, these levels are going to be way bigger. They're doing like this open world sort of approach is what I took away from it. They're doing these massive scale fights with the mechs, and then they have flying and stuff. It's going to be really interesting because I think they've done a lot of work on the back end to get it working, because it's very different than anything they've done before. So I'm excited to see how it works. Kino Man Sky, thank you for that one. Again, 15 months. That's crazy. I appreciate you. Thank you. And we did read that one. Yeah, we did. Okay. Hey, Luke, happy Friday. Happy Friday to you too. I am literally wrapping up my work for the week. Oh, baby. Has been an exhausting week. Any PS5 games I should pre-order in coming days? Stay classy and positive vibes from VA, the good old Virginia. I mean, as for pre-ordering, my general stance is, don't bother pre-ordering. Unless you want like collector's editions and stuff, in which case you need like the statue and you're not going to get it if you wait for launch. So, you know, but collector's editions are kind of like a no-duh situation. I fully expect that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is going to be freaking phenomenal. I have not seen like a single bad review or rather impressions or preview. Everybody who plays it seems to love it. So KCD2 is a really safe bet for a game that will live up to those expectations. That would be my guesstimation. Beyond that, I mean, there's going to be some big stuff. Monster Hunter, I'm sure, is going to be really impressive. The only thing I would be worried about is how it runs on lower end hardware, because the demo beta thing that they did, it was not optimized at all. They say that they're aware of it and they're working on it. Sorry, I've got like a knot in my neck right there. So they say that they're working on it, but time will tell. I mean, the beta was not where it needed to be, and it's a beta, so it's allowed to be rough. But that did show that there's the potential for that to be a problem. So I would just be cautious if you have like a lower end set of hardware. But they didn't do it on console, did they? I think it was just PC. The beta? I don't actually remember. Beta! I don't actually remember. Maybe it was on PS5 too. Either way, that one on console, I'm sure is going to be fine. You going to try Avowed? Probably, yeah. I mean, I hope to have the chance to review it. I wasn't going to be able to review it when AC Shadows was coming out like a few days later, because that game was going to be way bigger. But now that they've delayed Shadows into March, I'll have time to actually play Avowed, which will be interesting. I'm excited to see it. Any chance KCD2 could beat GTA 6 for Game of the Year? KCD2 is my Game of the Year already. I think, Jack, I would never count them out, because based on the previews I've seen, and of course, you know, I'm speaking from the point of view of me back in like mid-December, okay, or actually more like when the previews went up, because of course I've continued playing it and I'm prepping the review. I think it's extremely likely that this thing gets like 10 out of 10s across the board. And at some point, like, I think that has an impact. And people said, you know, there's no way any game is going to beat out GTA 6 if it launches this year. But people said the same thing about Red Dead Redemption 2. People said there's no way anything could beat out Red Dead 2. And then God of War won it. So it's not always just about what is like the biggest and most ridiculously successful game. It's also about what people connected the most with, and all of that. Oh, Bite Size in here. Bite Size.
That's most definitely what's up.
That is most definitely what's up. If he's just talking about e-begging, then he's probably a little behind in the clip, but that's funny. Stolen award, not gonna lie. Honestly, I remember back in 2018, I felt like God of War, it was a fair win. And I think I gave my game of the year to God of War as well, because I felt like they took way more risks. Red Dead 2 was amazing in so many ways, and I think it stood the test of time much better than that God of War game. But I think they took way more risks than Red Dead. Like, Red Dead was Red Dead, but with a 2 next to it, and cranked out the ass in so many ways. But at least God of War, like, they were reinventing a franchise. And I think that that's why the sentiment and why people like felt it like deserved special recognition. I think that's what it was. But in the years that have gone by since, I think a lot more people are still playing and appreciating and pointing back to Red Dead 2 compared to the original God of War. Because, I mean, original, the reboot, whatever. You know what I mean? And a lot of that also is because Ragnarok was also so much better from 2018 that it felt like, why would anybody play 2018 again? You know, I'm playing Red Dead 2 right now. LMAO. Oh, really? I'm jealous. I love Red Dead. I love me some Red Dead. Do you think there's any possibility GTA 6 comes out on PC at launch, says Lucas on Twitch? Honestly, no. I mean, they've already shown the trailer. They've already said in investor calls, they only phrase it as it's coming to PlayStation and Xbox Series consoles. So they've already said all of that, and they very intentionally do not say PC. So I think there is a 0% chance. Well, never say never. There's a 1% chance that it comes to PC day one. And part of it, like, let's just be real. They wait a year and a half. They port it to PC with some new bells and whistles on your 60 series graphics card. You're going to buy it again. You're going to buy it again. They know you'll buy it. And even if you don't think you will, you will. You know, why do you think GTA 5 is still constantly in the top sales lists on all of these platforms? It's because people are double dipping, triple dipping, quadruple dipping. They bought GTA 5 on 360, then they swapped to PS3, and then they bought it again on PS4, but then they got frustrated, and they went and they got an Xbox 2 for their bedroom. So now they've bought 4 copies, and then it moves forward into the next generation. They get a PC, they buy it on PC, and then they're like, ooh, but I think I'm going to change this. Oh, I lost my password for my Xbox account. Oh, I got to buy it again on a new account. You know, like, people buy it all over the place because it's one of those games that you're just always going to have, almost certainly. Like, there's some people who don't, I'm sure, but it's one of those staple games that everybody's got in their library. You know, I did the double dip and I'm proud. Not even sorry. Dude, some people, okay. I realize that was a nonsensical sentence I just tried to string together, but I want to show you something. Okay. Over on TikTok, okay. Oh yeah, we're live. Over on TikTok, I made this post about the strategy that GTA is going to employ. Well, Trevor cut it together, but we made this post. Look at the comments, okay? People were like, there's no way that people are going to pay more than $70 for this. Look at these comments. These are not YouTube gamers. These are TikTok gamers, okay? I'm cool with paying $120 for a Rockstar game. I mean, they're not Ubisoft or EA. Dude, the base game could be $400 and I'd still buy it. I'll pay whatever. I don't care. Y'all willing to pay $60 every year for a new trash COD but are complaining if GTA 6 is more? I think it should be minimum $80. I mean, when GTA 5 came out, I saved up and shelled out for the collector's edition. I'm fine paying for better premium when it comes to this series because there's not really anything else like it. I've waited this long. I can wait for another 5 days. Don't care about GTA, more hype for Ghost of Yotei. Fair enough. Anything over 60 euros is no buy for me. Bro isn't buying anything in 2025. I think actually it'll be a lot worse. GTA 6 will set a new price standard, $100 base. The point is, like, all of these. Yeah, what's the point of bro drawing all this out? Because you watched and commented, bro. I got your watch time. Got you. The point is, once we get out of our bubble, and this is part of why I like having also like the TikTok page and stuff, it's because you get to see another side of it. You make this video explaining this on like the desire from investors to take it to $80, $90, $100 a copy. And everybody in the YouTube comment section is like, how insane are they? They're out of their minds. This is ridiculous. And they start freaking out. You go on TikTok and everybody's defending it. Everybody's like, except for a couple people, are like, no, I mean, I think they honestly, they should charge more. Yeah, I'd support it. And it's totally different. Okay. And I know some people are like, well, it's GTA. Yeah, that's part of the point is, you know, this was very specifically about GTA 6 increasing its price. But even this one, you know, I'm cool paying $120 for a Rockstar game and 2,500 people like it. Dude, the base game could be $400 and I'd still buy it. Almost 1,400 people, you know? It's just a different universe. Different universe. Man. So anyway, we'll see what happens there. Where was I? Okay. The brain rot's real. Welcome to short form content, my friend. On short form, you can also you can get away with a lot more stuff. It's just a different age range. Like the average viewership on TikTok is much lower, and so the standards are just different, and it's very interesting. It's very interesting, the difference. What am I drinking? A mango smoothie with protein in it. When we were working out, dude, we were doing the last bit of our set, and then I swear to God, I'm gonna finally talk about this. I had a I guess a cramp, but in my left calf. Never experienced anything like it, but literally every muscle from my knee down was flexed, like fully. I don't even know, like fully activated and stuck there. Like it was kind of freaky because my foot's like this. Every muscle is completely tight and seizing. You couldn't move it. Like I couldn't move my foot at all. I had to stop and massage it. It was insane. Yeah, eat bananas, more electrolytes. I agree. I'd been drinking water. I thought I was good. I was not. And when it hit, I was on the treadmill at the time. And then it started to hit. I felt it in my upper calf. And then it starts sliding down. And then the whole thing seizes up and my foot gets stuck like that. And I was like, oh God. So I stopped. It was crazy, dude. It was crazy. It hurt. Too much water can flush electrolytes. See, I think I swung the other way. I think I had too much. So now I've got to go have we got these things called liquid IVs. They're really good. Get that, get a Gatorade, eat a pickle. I don't know. I have a couple friends who are bodybuilders, and they said they eat pickles all the time because the salt helps. Who knows? Let's talk about this. You ready? New segment. Are you ready? Marvel Rivals developers are allegedly hiding fake heroes' in-game files to catch leakers. Ooh, baby, how clever. How clever. This is a report from Tom Henderson on the one and only Insider Gaming website. You can see Visceral put this tweet, X post, whatever out, and says, this is not 100% confirmations that they're all coming or when they will come. This is just to show off these actually exist. All hero tags can be found in Marvel content, and then they share the folders. Ability tables are too long to fit in the screenshot. So you see that they outline like Gambit, Bullet, different abilities and different things. And this is really, really interesting. So new claims have hit the internet. The Marvel Rivals developers are adding fake heroes within the game files to confuse and catch leakers. Or are they? The discussion first appeared on Marvel Rivals leak Discord channel, where data miner and leaker Kione posted that NetEase is likely adding fake heroes to the game in order to confuse data miners. Hello everyone, quote, hello everyone. It has come to our attention that the devs have set up characters to catch leakers. Not only the ones in the code, but potentially insider sources too. Kang will probably explain this more as we go on, but here's the current list as far as we can figure out. And then he posted a picture of characters that he believes are not coming to the game, that they're using to catch people. And this is kind of interesting because you think of it from like the devs' perspective. They just want to figure out where the problem child is. Who's the one talking? And these companies go hard with it too. I mean, they dig into these like people's emails. They dig into the company emails. I mean, they dig into everything they can to try to figure out who is responsible for the leaks. And this has even been a thing. You know, I've heard stories of like other companies, not to be too specific, but there's another company that has had a problem with one specific person that leaks stuff all the time. And there's little bitty things that leaker will say, where he'll say something like, you know, I heard this number with regard to this stat. You know, I heard there's this many players, or that they had this many things canceled or whatever. And they'll have that number that they can then take and look through their internal communications to be like, okay, who was told that number and could be the one leaking it? And it's kind of, you know, roundabout way of basically just saying they can start to disseminate information that's slightly different to a bunch of different people and figure out where the leak is happening as a result of that. So if they go to the gameplay design team over here and they say, oh yeah, we're adding this character to the game. We're actually going to add freaking, I don't know, Joe Biden as a playable character. It's going to be awesome. They tell those people that. And then they tell this other group, hey, we're adding Trump into the game. He's going to be a playable character. They're like, oh, cool. And then the leak comes out. It's rumored that Joe Biden is being added to the game, to Marvel Rivals. Then you know you're dealing with this group right here. You were never going to put either of them in the game, but you know where it's starting. And this immediately reminded me of another story from a few years ago, actually. But I thought it was really, really really funny because this, I don't know why this story has stuck with me, but basically Elon Musk revealed how Tesla caught an employee who was leaking confidential information, because there's a lot of like little bitty tidbits and techniques that they use. And what he said was, Mars said, Elon, in 2008, how did you catch that employee who leaked the confidential data of Tesla and sold it to the news outlet? And he said, that is actually quite an interesting story. We sent what appeared to be identical emails to all in the company, but each was actually coded with either 1 or 2 spaces between sentences, forming a binary signature that identified the leaker. Because what would happen is the person would just take the text, copy it, and then paste it into an email, sending it to the journalist or whatever. And then the journalist would copy it and paste it into their article and never think twice about it. But they could then, on the back end, Tesla could go in and see, okay, there's 1 space. Oh, there's 2 spaces here. So, 1, 2, then here we've got, okay, that's a negative. Okay. And then they could figure out what the binary signature is to identify the leaker. Super clever. And this, to be clear, this is not just a Tesla thing. This happens in many companies. Okay. There's even like automated systems that can do this. We had a situation when I worked in real estate where we had like these deals are valuable. Okay. Like we get a building listed that's worth $10 million. Our commission on that would be like $500,000 or something. Now, to be fair, I was not getting that. That was going to the owner and then the partners. And even if I was the one that like found the property, listed it and sold it and everything, I might make like 25 grand on that deal, just to be clear. But because brokerages are basically a pyramid scheme, but it's normalized and everybody just goes along with it because they want to be at the top. So nobody bats an eye, even though it's like insanely stupid how it's set up. But anyway, we would have this $10 million building set listed. And the second word got out, you would have every broker in town calling because they had a client that wanted to buy it, right? Even if they didn't have a client that wanted to buy it, they would just get it under contract and then go find a buyer and do it that way. And we would make $500,000 if we were the ones to sell the building on both sides, seller, and we also find the buyer. But if we let somebody else bring a buyer, we have to pay that broker half of the commission. So now we're only making $250,000. So for a deal that's, you know, that massive, it's really important that nothing gets out early, that nobody in town knows, because there's this weird like bubble and wrinkle in brokerage where if you have somebody come to you with a good faith offer to buy the property, even if they shouldn't know that it's listed, if they approach, you have to represent the seller's best interest, and you have to then put those two together and sell the property, even if it hurts you financially, because your duty is to serve the best interests of the seller, not your own best interests. But inevitably brokers kind of fudge the rules a little bit. But if you were to just be like, oh no, we can't take offers right now, then that broker would just go to the seller, who he can find in public records, and then say, hey, I'm trying to sell this. I have a buyer for you that's ready to go. Your broker's lying to you. And then that broker loses his license, could go to jail. It's a whole thing. But that's why it's so crucial. The information doesn't get out until the company is ready for the information to go out. That, hey, we have this listing, we're about to sell it, because you have like a day or two to try and sell it off market while you're prepping all the marketing materials. And so there were instances where, like, if something would leak, I heard a story from another broker at a much bigger firm who they were trying to figure out who was selling this for like little kickbacks from other brokers, who tells it to this guy who has a buyer that's ready, and they get 10 grand, you know, kind of pocketed to them under the table. And they did something almost identical to this. I don't think it was the spaces. I think they said they changed the size of the the periods and commas, because like a 9-point comma doesn't look any different than like a 10-point comma, or a 12-point period doesn't look any different than a 9-point period, not practically, right? So they would just go back into all of that. But it's interesting to see them using similar techniques to try and catch the people that are leaking information about playable characters in the future for Marvel Rivals of all games. I didn't realize that there was this big of an industry tied up to the leaks of Marvel Rivals, but apparently it's hotly debated and desired. I mean, the game is huge. The game has continued to just exceed expectations. I'm still playing it with my siblings. My wife plays it all the time. It's just continuing to smash records and expectations. It just goes to show you, like, you make a good game, even if it's kind of similar to some others, people will flock to it because it's good. Like, that's the thing. You have to have some novel ideas, but you also have to have fantastic post-launch support. It has to scale well. And I think it also, in 2025, probably needs to be free. Like, honestly. I don't think you can get away with this charging like 40, 50, 60 bucks a copy. And that's been one of the more surprising elements of Sony's goals, is that they want to do all these live service games, but they want to charge a premium for it. And that just to me seems so stupid, I think is the term technically. Because what they're doing is they keep pointing to like Helldivers 2, and they're like, hey, well, that's sold for 40 and that's a multiplayer game, so we should be able to sell Concord for 40, and we should be able to sell Fair Game $sign for 40, 50 bucks or whatever. And then they're shocked when it doesn't work, you know. But that's part of what makes it so funny, is They just don't learn, dude. Because there's already rumors that Fair Game $sign is expected to have a premium price tag. We'll see. We'll see what the game is like actually like when we see gameplay and stuff. But I swear to God, if they try to sell that thing for $40 or $50 again, and then like, why is no one buying it? I'm going to laugh so freaking hard, dude. Man. Oh, but anyway, the Marvel Rivals continues to pop off. It's killing it. They're doing amazing. And they're trying to catch leakers. So people gotta watch. And then they're doing other stuff like putting fake characters in, allegedly, to catch, or not catch, but to confuse data miners and people that are trying to, get Twitter engagement or something by saying, oh, this character is expected to come, and then it never comes, and they lose credibility because the devs are messing with them, which is a little funny. It's a little funny. Yeah. Honestly, the Fair Games announcement seemed kind of interesting to me. I mean, we meme on it. It very well could be a very interesting, solid game. I want to be clear about that. But we meme on it because that trailer and the whole theme and vibe and narrative of the game is so hilariously out of touch that like I don't think you can make something that hilariously out of touch if you wanted to. Like, it's literally a game put together by a multi-billion-dollar corporation that is about robbing billionaires to eat the rich while fighting other teams to take the most money and just steal. Like, it's ridiculous. It's so outrageously stupid. And then they're going to charge you $40 for it too. Like, it's not even a free to play game. Maybe they're changing that. I think they should. Because I swear to God, like the memes write themselves. Sony, eat the rich. Except not us. It's so stupid. Oh yeah, US pre-orders. Kingdom Come, Monster Hunter, Civ 7, Monster Hunter again. But I mean, also AC Shadows. Those previews actually, it does seem like for a lot of people are instilling confidence, which is pretty impressive. Because I feel like most people were pretty positive towards the game and pretty impressed. There were some people that had things they were not convinced of. Like, it sounds like Skill Up and myself were not that impressed, but Grave Bloom, bro, imagine willingly paying full price for a Ubi game when they always go on sale half a month later. Dude, I mean, yeah, it's something I talked to a very senior marketing person within Ubisoft, and I just said, like, I don't know if you guys can, I think exactly what I said was, I don't think you guys can be surprised that games aren't selling day one when everybody knows they'll go 50% off or 40% off a month later, 2 months later. And this guy was like, I agree. I know. But there's nothing. Apparently it comes from even higher. I think it's something with like Yves Guillemot and like one of the like C-level executives that just, for whatever reason, is like, no, we need higher unit numbers, so put it on sale. And it's just how they do things. I just don't understand it. This is a good idea. Thank you for the 5. What is the biggest thing you're hoping to not return from past games in AC Shadows? Personally, I hope, I mean, the trailing missions, they pretty much cut. I hope they really, I mean, they're reworking the questing, they're reworking objective markers. I just hope that the open world activities are not just find a chest inside this building and you open the door by shooting an arrow through a window and now you got the chest. and it's just like a generic piece of armor. I hope there's actual like side quests. It's the thing Kingdom Come Deliverance does so well, is you go, you talk to a random dude sitting at a bench, and it kickstarts an 1.5-hour quest line, and then you look up and you're like, what the hell just happened? And it's a good quest line too. I want more stuff like that, and I just feel like that's one of those things we just don't know about. John, thank you for the 5. Thank you for that. Luke, if the opportunity came up, would you give up streaming to be part of the admin who greenlight projects, money not being a motive? I think it depends on within which project. I mean, I don't know if it, and I also don't know if it would mean giving up on streaming. But I guess if the premise of the question is if I had to give up streaming and then I could take on a position like a senior position within a major video game company to greenlight and work on games, I mean, that'd be tempting, of course, because I love gaming, but I also love talking with you guys and streaming and hanging out. People ask me, like, why do you stream when you're on vacation? Because, dude, I genuinely like streaming. I like talking with people and hanging out. Like, it's just is what it is. Co does both. Yeah, see, there you go. Some people do both. What's the other? There's another big streamer that also has his own game studio. There's a bunch. Well, everybody, I'm very sorry. I have just been hit with a wave of tummy rumblings, and I worry that I'm about to explode while sitting here. So what I'm going to do is I think we're going to end the stream here. I'll be back on Monday, rocking and rolling. Sorry, it's a little shorter than normal, only 2-ish hours, but I feel like I'm about to explode, and I don't want to do that on video. Though I will say, if I was clip farming, that probably would do it. Give me a Valhalla before we leave.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So anyway, much love, everybody. I love y'all desperately. Stay safe. Go watch the Shadows video if you've not already. And yeah, I love you all desperately. I'll see you soon, okay? Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.